figured I'd just share the end result on this mower, since I made a little short on it having a blown motor. You know, I impress myself sometimes. So this went from having a blown motor to basically like it just rolled off the assembly line. It's art. This isn't just mechanics, engineering at times, repairs. It's an art form. So anyway, yeah, it's got the good old big block 190 cc, American made. They ran from about 1984 to 2015. They started producing them in China in 2012, but they were basically the same. The blocks, they started putting rigid lines into them because I guess probably the blocks were a little bit weaker. But essentially, they were the same, yeah, and internally. And the later ones, I guess from about 09, maybe 2010, they had the automatic choke. This was an 08. My neighbor has an 08. His is primer. I think this one was converted to the automatic choke because the air filter housing cover had the primer sticker. And then when I looked at this, it looks like this was capped off, which, because you can buy the conversion kit where they sell it with the muffler, with the thermostat, the carburetor, because this is also, it looks like it's just an aftermarket carburetor. It runs perfect. So the aftermarket carburetor that accepts the plastic fan that comes over, and then this bracket would have had to have been changed so that it has the spot to hold the spring that holds that plastic flap in choke when you go to start it cold. But I think this was a primer version originally. The one that, you know, I had another motor, I think even a couple years older, but it did come off a Troy-Bilt as well. That one, it was definitely a primer version originally. So I had to also switch the parts from the blown motor to this one. So the muffler, the thermostat, the carburetor, the air box, this bracket, and the shield, this shield behind it. It's this shield. It has a little nipple on the top to hold the spring. The ones at the primer don't have it, so you can't add the spring without putting that on there. But they are convertible that way. Yeah, so if you wanted to make it auto choke, you can. It's nice. You know what I mean? You don't have to worry about priming it. You know, before that, they had the manual choke ones. Those were okay too, because the choke was right up top. And you just, yeah, but that's when they were running throttles up to them. So you had the choke, and then you could, you know, you could actually set the speeds on these things. Now they're fixed. They've been fixed since like late 90s. The early ones had the manual choke with a throttle, and then they got rid of it, made them fixed speed, you know, set to one speed with a primer. So that made it a pain in the ass, because then you had to come down here and prime them. And I see people where they forget to do it. I was in Linden one time. It was this older Polish lady. She didn't know any English, and she was out in her front yard with the mower. And I guess she thought I knew Polish, which I don't, but I knew exactly what the problem was because she pointed at the mower. So I knew immediately. You know, I pulled it, it wouldn't start. I hit the primer, it started, and she even was like, oh, yeah, because she had forgot. So some people forget, you know. But also, like, if it has an electric starter, if it's one of them older ones, you got to come down here and prime it before you can turn it with the key. Whereas at least with the newer ones, you just turn the key. You know what I mean? So it's kind of counterproductive to have to come down here to do this and then turn the key. If you're gonna have to do that, might as well just, you really don't need electric start on these anyway. It was just like an added whoop-de-doo. They're easy enough to start. So let's hear it run. Run strong. Might be a note too high. I could put my tachometer to it, but I did speed it up a little bit. At first, I think it was a little bit too slow. It might be a note too high right now. You can kind of tell by the sound of it. So I might drop it a little bit. But yeah, I mean, okay, it's MTD, but these decks are a little bit better than the newer ones. They're a little bit stronger. They're a little bit, thicker. And so this has a self-propelled, but if you were to take these components off, the core of it in front of it is metal for the push mower ones. The newer ones, even the push mower ones, it's plastic up front. So this had it where it was actually metal. And the same thing with the back. It's metal all the way. And on the newer ones, it's plastic. So the decks got thinner. They went to plastic and plastic on the front, plastic on the back. And those are the ones that really rot out quick. So, and this one doesn't mention anything about global components. The engine I know from this time period was definitely still 100% American made. As far as I know, everything on this was still made in the USA at the time. The newer ones, a lot of those components, even the decks, can be stamped out and shining now. But yeah, on here it doesn't mention anything about anything global. So I think it's 100% Yankee. It's not like 50-50 or 75-25. It's Yankee all the way, and that's what you want. If you go to buy a mower used in good condition, this is the engine you want for it. Take care of them. They last a long time. So that's about it. Just figured I'd share it. There's going to be a short run video of it, me just running it, because it's going up for sale, and I'm not taking any less than $250 for this one. It's got the bigger, better engine. It's a better mower overall, and it's like I said, rolled out of the assembly line condition now. The other dummy that originally had it just, didn't take care of it properly, like the big one. I mean, you go through all that trouble to put automatic choke on it, and then you don't even bother to change the oil. Okay, that's stupid. And these ones, you gotta change the oil. It doesn't say nothing about not changing the oil. The newer ones, they claim that you don't have to change the oil. That's because they're garbage and not gonna last that long anyway. If you get 10 years out of one of them, you did good. These ones, you can get 20 plus if you take care of it. But these are still, these handles are still a little cheesy. But as long as the cables are working properly, you don't have to worry about them breaking. But if the cables start to freeze, these end up getting bent up and broken. And I don't know what he did here, but it's holding, so I'm not bothering with that. And another thing, he's got these wing nuts on here, but he's got bolts behind them holding the handles on. So why are the wing nuts even there still? And then down here, there's these two little carriage bolts on the bottom of the handle that are supposed to keep it firm, which it's doing now because I put them back on. But before that, they were missing, and so it started to wallow out this. And also, it looks like one of them springs maybe missing. I don't know for sure if it had two of them. It's set up to have two, though. One's missing. I have it. But it's a pain in the butt to get that thing off, put that other spring on. It works perfectly fine without it, so I'm not bothering with that. What else? I don't know what he did. He must have had to put a new belt on, because I don't think that's the original hardware, but that doesn't matter. And then what else did I notice before? Oh yeah, like I said, up here on this, he has this bent in all the way where you can't get the rope out. That's not supposed to be like that. That's supposed to be open enough to where you can get that rope out of there. And he had washers holding this in. There's no need for washers. This just turns on all the way and tightens. So, oh, and then to put cheap ass crappy rear wheels on it that don't match. They weren't exactly the same diameter. Throws the whole thing off. It made it, not right. It wouldn't cut right. It didn't roll right. So I put the right wheels on. So, but I mean, the cardinal sin was not changing and adding oil. So if you would have done that, I mean, there's no reason now for this machine not to go another 10 years plus. Just take care of it. And the blade was loose on the bottom. I don't know why. I don't know if maybe he was thinking about doing something with it, or if he just didn't tighten up the blade. And the blade's basically brand new. So I don't know if he just didn't tighten it up all the way. But he also must have hit something, because the other engine's blade adapter, the keyway inside of it was sheared. So that other engine, besides the fact that it was low on oil, he probably must have hit something, because it was low on oil. But then when I went to take that blade adapter off, which the blade was loose, unless that just caused it, that was sheared. But this engine already had the blade adapter on it, and it was one piece with the pulley. So, and luckily I didn't have to, they were the same, so I didn't have to take it off. They were the same diameter, same pulley, because it was frozen on there. So that would have been a pain to have to get off. So luckily it was the right one. Done. So I'm going to open up the other engine soon, probably today. When I do go to open it, we'll see how it looks in there. From what I can hear, it sounds like, because it's either the connecting rod breaks in two places to allow a chunk, or it snapped right off the crank and broke in one piece at the end. I kind of have a feeling that's how it went. It sounds like that in there, but we'll see. We'll see exactly how bad it is. I mean, if it didn't destroy everything else, the block's still good. Theoretically, it would just need another connecting rod, which definitely have those, and probably a crank, unless you can clean it up. But for these push mowers, it really don't matter. I get so many of them, it doesn't even, they stack up. So, but the new ones compared to this are garbage. Chinese made garbage. From when they started making them, I don't know, I guess they came out with them about the same time these were getting phased out, 2015, maybe a little bit earlier. Like they were starting to bring them in as this was being phased out. It's a shame they had to phase these out. Is what it is. All right, guys, later.